Dawn, obviously another, major win against a top 15 opponent. People are already saying, Brenda Free said this team could be better than last year's. Polls are starting to talk maybe they'll be number one tomorrow. Knowing all that, do you stress that to the team? Do you even talk about that to the team? How do you think this team can handle that kind of the air that they're getting into?
We're just in the moment. I think we do need to. It was a big win for us, and we did it a certain way, very similarly to when we played Notre Dame. It's a collective effort. There isn't anybody that you can just hone in on. There is, because you can hone in on Camilla, but when you do that, you give up, some other options for us that we've been pretty good at. I don't want our players shying away from knocking down threes or shooting them, and they've been very responsible with taking good shots and makeable shots for them. Whatever that individual shot is for them, we've been pretty good. We've been pretty good at balancing, getting the ball inside. We're still giving up, almost 73 points. We haven't done that in a long time either. So there's a give and take in scoring a lot of points. You create more possessions for our opponents.
Wanted to ask about Chloe. I know she was someone you talked about in the preseason as not being timid anymore, and then she has 2 back-to-back starts, and today a game of her career. What can you say about her performance today?
She's been steadily getting good at what she does. I think the summer was a good summer for her. I thought postseason was a good time for her to really understand what she wanted, and she had her eye on the USA basketball team, U19. And she had her eye on starting, and that was her focus. And she worked on her shot, her confidence, her ability to make the right basketball decision, and she put herself in position to start for Joni Taylor's team on the U19. And then she brought that mentality back, and I think it waned some. I thought it was inconsistent at times, but she got back to doing the little things, and now she's doing the little things and finding spots in our offense to score the ball. So she's creating great balance with what she's doing.
Tessa kind of did a little bit of everything today. Were you expecting her to settle in this quickly, and just kind of what has her development looked like over just the last couple weeks?
Tessa can shoot the ball. Like she can shoot it. But I think she's really pretty balanced because she's always got her head up when she's penetrating. So you don't know whether she's passing or shooting because her head is in a position of shooting, but then she'll drop it off to someone. She could pass. Like when we were recruiting her, we knew she could pass the basketball. We were looking at what she can do from stretching the floor, but then when she got here, we saw how well she passed the ball, and it's a good day for her. But she is a freshman, so we anticipate her, having some inconsistent days, and that is what having the type of team that we have this year, and that you could have a somewhat of an inconsistent day of what you had today, and then, we can more than make up for it with the rest of the roster.
Sticking with the freshman, Joss, some of the offense-defense subs did at the end of the first half, got a bucket, end of the third quarter. What do you like about her in that spot, and what does it say about this roster? You can pretty much play by possession with subs like that.
It's been great. I know Ja and Kima. Every time we get a little bit closer to prep time for a team, they lose out on some reps with us. Sometimes we put them on the highlighters just so they can get some reps, get up and down. I know what we can get from Ja. Whether she gets a rep or not, she could come in and give us that because she's energy, she defends, she can score, she can score. So it's just numbers. It's hard to play 11 players. So we are probably really comfortable with playing 9. And then the 2 will slide. They can slide in and the other 2 can slide out as far as getting minutes. So just really proud of the team, and everybody that got in the game made an impact.
On the side of Pete.
Dawn, what we've seen happen these first couple of games probably wouldn't happen unless you're able to convince some very talented players, hey, wait your turn, You know, it's coming. How difficult a job is that? And obviously this group's accepted that message. Is that an unlikely circumstance going forward?
I don't know. I know what we do here. Like, I really do know. If you can, because everybody that's played here has sacrificed. Whether you played a lot of minutes or no minutes, there was a sacrifice. Can't tell me, like, you know, Tari Saxton didn't sacrifice. Zaya sacrificed. Zaya could have went anywhere, you know, took 25 shots a game, you know, and had a really good career. She sacrificed. Bree Bill. I mean, she scored more than Candace Parker in the state of Illinois. She comes here and she's like the fourth or fifth option. But she played. She started. She was a part of something special. So, you know, the sacrifice of some of the players that had to come off the bench and play behind the freshies, now is their turn. The trick is to be able to be ready and take on all the reps, be ready night in and night out in the games and produce. That's hard. And I'm different. There's a lot of stress that comes with starting, with being prepared. So they got to be able to handle that on a daily basis, and they have for the most part. But the season's still young.
Yeah, I don't think she started a game freshman year.
The first one, and bombed. You did. Well, we played her out of position too. We played her at the 3. Yeah. I had to have a conference call with her mom. Like, I think we need to bring her off the bench. And she was like, really? Are you sure? I said, you're going to have to trust me on this one. But she got all the awards. She got national player, the freshman. She was first team. She did all of that.
Dawn, obviously the culture of your program, the alumni coming back and being here, a really cool moment to help to celebrate from Tiffany to your freshies with Asia in between, all of it. And your players talked about how great it is, the relationships they have with those former players, even your freshmen who didn't know the freshies personally. What's it take to do that? And I can't help but think that's kind of like the X factor that you have going, even when you talk about kids waiting and playing and waiting their turn and believing in it.
I mean, it's truth coaching. Like, they've allowed us to be who we are, and they take it as such. Meaning, although it's hard to swallow, you're probably not going to play as much right now. But you know, if you just hold out, you're going to learn. You're going to learn through this process, and then when it holds true, when it holds true, is they're the storytellers of the program at that point. So it's just the way it is. We produce pros, and when you produce pros, you see them. They're the best. They're the best of the league. They're the very best of the league. And if that's not proof in the pudding, then this really isn't a place for you.
Dawn, I'm sure this coaching staff had a idea of how good this team could be. But,
no, we didn't.
Okay, no, you didn't. So when they go perform like this out of the gates, so I'm guessing you're saying it was a shock to you, and also what does it do for their confidence to say, oh, okay, we got something cooking here?
You know, it's hard because when you're so close to the situation, you know what our deficiencies are. Like, we know as coaches, but this team has really they're playing together. They have buy-in with each other. They have buy-in with our coaching staff, and I really didn't see it. Like, I didn't see this. I didn't see Notre Dame. I really didn't see this. I do think now that they've given us a small sample, looks like we can score the ball. Looks like we're probably not as good of a defensive team as we've been, and that's probably because of we can score the ball and we're creating more possessions. But they're listening, and it's something to say about listeners, something to say about people that can execute and belief. And the more and more we have these type of games, the more confidence they're gaining as a collective unit, because it is a collective unit.
Speaking of scoring, it's the first time in program history going over 100 in the or going at least to 100 in the first 2 games. Should we just go ahead and pencil you in for triple digits the rest of the way? You going to go for 200 to keep it interesting at some point?
Who we got next? Oh, Clemson. I mean, no, that's not. Look. Did y'all try to give Clemson a bulletin board? I mean, we're gonna be who we are. Seriously, we're gonna be who we are. And if this team has shown that, I don't think we're going to change. I don't think we're going to walk the ball up the floor and play half court. We have to play quickly. We have to score as quickly as possible. And then if someone forces us to play in the half court, like Maryland did in the first 2 quarters, we got to find a way to still be, effective. So we're going to keep pushing. I mean, Raven's not slowing down. Like, I don't even think I could slow her down if I wanted to. So just proud of the team, proud of where we are, because we've come a long way. If you could have seen June, July, August, like if you could have seen that, you would be sitting where I'm sitting, where like it was unimaginable for us to even think about what we were able to do the first 2 games of the season.
Your team had 30 assists today. For a group that hasn't had a large sample size together on the floor at once, especially against top 15 competition, what does that kind of say about the cohesiveness you have with multiple lineups and multiple different players being able to move the ball?
Well, I would say this. That's the one thing I thought we could bring to the table was our ability. I thought we could be better passers, like a better passing basketball team. But for them to actually go out and share the ball the way that they have, I do think it comes from coaching. We stress it because we knew that everything was unfamiliar. We didn't know how it was unfamiliar for Camilla to step into a dominant role for us. So we wanted to make sure that just in case Camilla needs time to develop that in game, because she's doing it in practice, that we need to develop these other areas. And I thought we had really young players at the 4 position, like really, again, untapped. And that's an important position for us. Like they're like our point forward. Like everything runs through them. So I thought that because of our youthfulness there, that our guard play had to pick up. So I think the guards have a lot to do with the unselfishness of what's happening, and then now the post players are picking up on it. Ashlyn was at the basket and kicked it out to Raven, and Raven knocked down a 3. That's pure gold for us. So for her to give up that basket, it's making it hard for anybody to guard us and us keeping people off balance.
I mean, speaking of Ashlyn, we barely talked about her, speaking of the depth, but she had 5 blocks today. Just how important is she, especially defensively, to you guys this year?
Great. I mean, we had really healthy competition. Do I think part of Ashlyn was just competitively upset that we chose to start Chloe? Yes. And I think it's elevated her. And I do think Chloe feels Ashlyn coming. So it's kind of a healthy, it's great. It's bringing out the best in both of them. But Ashlyn is certainly wanting to be dominant. Like she's a starter kit. It's a starter kit of dominance, and it has to start somewhere. And it's showing on both sides of the basketball. So I'm proud of her as well.
Yeah, you touched on Raven a little bit earlier. Just how do you feel like she's been running the show so far through these first 2 games?
Great. Raven is striking the balance. Like she's heat checking people who aren't guarding her. And I think the experience of being in the Final Four and what happened to her is really driving her. But it's not unrailing her from doing the things that she does best, which is run our team and, make Camilla's life easier, make our guards who are running the floor their lives easier. She's making us more balanced by shooting the basketball and taking an assertive role in scoring the ball.
I wanted to follow up on the culture aspect. Is that something you had to teach at some point, that you were encouraging, reach out to our alums, or alums reach out to our current players? Or where did that ball get rolling that now it's just second nature for these young women to think of themselves as family?
Well, I think young people nowadays are at a place where resources are good for them, and they need to actually visually see it. Like they're tangible people. Like you can't say, okay, well, go look at Arike Agumabale. Aguma who? Oh, yeah, that. I messed that up. Agumawale? Rike, please don't send this out, y'all. Please don't send that out. Go look at her and be great like her. That does nothing for them. Like, really, that does nothing. But if we say, hey, look at Asia, she's powerful, she's the mid-range. By the way, you've been working on that mid-range. You were the best in the league. And mid-range, percentage, field goal percentage. Go look at Aaliyah Boston. And also go look at Zaya, because Zaya didn't play a whole lot, but Zaya was learning as she was sitting. So tangible. Now it's probably a little bit. Look at LA. LA didn't start for us, but she's a lottery pick. Didn't play a whole lot. Still on the roster. I mean, it's something to say. It's not just the very best. It's the full spectrum. And there's a story behind all of them that all of our players can relate to, and that's what it is. And we want them to reach back. We want our players in the league to reach back. We want our players that are currently on the roster to reach up, and because ultimately that's where they want to be. So yes, it's a use your resources. And I tell our players, I'm your biggest resource. So if you're not coming to me and you're going to somebody else, they really can't help you get in the game.
I think that's it. Unless you got anything here in front.
Thank y'all.